Continuing the theme today of movies I've seen in theaters and rewatched for this month of the 31 Days of Horror Hullabaloo Boo, we are talking about Overlord, the 2018 zombie World War II mashup. Let's talk about it. A small group of American soldiers find horror behind enemy lines on the eve of D-Day. So this movie is, first off, severely underrated. It's a really good war movie for the first hour of the film. And the opening sequence where all the soldiers are on the plane and then they're parachuting into France, where the goal of these soldiers is to go through this French village and take out a radio tower that is jamming the signals, that they can then take that down and the Allied forces can come in. And obviously it's on the eve of D-Day, so this is an important mission. But what we get in this movie is a really good war movie that at certain points do just kind of feel like they're ripping off Inglourious Bastards, even with the Chloe character, who is played by Mathilde Oliver, where she just kind of feels like the main chick from Inglourious Bastards. And there is a scene very similar to Inglourious Bastards where instead of the soldiers talking and there's people under the floorboards, it's the soldiers talking to Chloe in this movie, and the soldiers are above them, and things are dropping. She has a kid that is her kid brother. Baseball rolls down the stairs. He's standing at the top of the stairs holding like a mitt, and the soldiers all laugh because they thought there was people up there. Obviously there are, but they don't figure it out. But this movie, again, the first hour of it, the war stuff of it, before we get into any of the horror or zombie elements of it, is really good stuff. It's like if this was just a straight up war movie where they were trying to blow up a clock or a radio tower in this little village, you would watch it and be satisfied by the style and kind of pizzazz of this movie. It has a very unique war palette and a very unique kind of way it's shot, and it looks, especially that opening scene, just looks so different and weird compared to, in a good way, compared to other war movies where they don't go realistic with it. They almost go hyper, almost surrealistic, where you're just like, these colors are popping, and it's just, again, a really interesting looking movie. But then obviously, because we're talking about this during this month, that means zombies get involved. And what happens is the main character, played by Jovan Adepo, who's named Boyce, and the other main character, Wyatt Russell, who plays Ford, they are in this town. The Boyce character gets separated from the other soldiers, jumps in the back of this truck to avoid a dog chasing him, and then ends up in this underground Nazi bunker where they are doing experiments on soldiers. But the experiments they're doing, he sees firsthand, are pretty much just to, I want to say, bring back the dead or inject the soldiers with this serum that turns, there's this great line by the main like Nazi villain in the movie where he says, 1,000-year army needs 1,000-year soldiers, which is a great line. Should have been used as like the tagline of that movie. Maybe it was, I don't know. But the Nazi scientists are using this serum to bring back the dead and to make the dead like these super strong. It's almost a super soldier serum, but only for dead soldiers. And Boyce does down in the lab, finds a soldier that he takes this giant needle out of, who's been experimented on. Gross. But when the best scene in this movie is when Boyce goes back to the French woman's house that they're kind of, all the soldiers are holed up in, and the Nazi, captain that they have captured kind of escapes and shoots Chase, who is one of the soldiers they are in the house with. And Boyce has taken this serum with him, like a vial of it. He injects Boyce in it after he's been shot, and Boyce stands up. Obviously, everybody's horrified because they just saw saw him, what they thought was murdered in front of him. And then he just all of a sudden starts acting weird and erratic. And he's saying how hot he is and how he needs water.
I'm thirsty. How do you feel?
And he's never felt better. And then he gets up and just like starts like twitching, and his head falls back below his, and you see his spine and his bones, and they're all twisting, and it just gets really, really gross. Everybody is horrified, obviously, of what's happening. The Chase kind of beats up everybody in the attic. The Nazi guy runs away, takes the kid, and then it becomes a movie where now, after what they've seen happen to Chase, the few remaining soldiers left are like, not only do we have to go to that tower and destroy it, but we have to just destroy the entire lab, because not only do we not want them to have it, we don't want anybody to have it, because we know if we take the lab and tell, America about this stuff, that our army is going to take it, which is a very cool idea and a very thought-provoking idea of what this movie does, which is says, not only is this stuff bad, but it's so bad that we don't even want it. We just want to completely clear our hands of it. There's a great scene at the end where after Boyce has destroyed the lab and he's returning back, he gets put into a different group, and the army captain is talking to him, and he's like, so what'd you see down there? Like, there was reports of a weird lab or whatever. Then he's like, no, I didn't see anything. It was just the control room. Then he's like, well, if you did see something, you tell us, right? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, but there's nothing down there, just radio. And then the guy's like, yeah, that's what I thought. And it's a great way to kind of just wipe the slate clean. It feels good at the end of the movie because you've seen throughout it the horrors of what this serum does, and how, yeah, you wouldn't want the good guys or the bad guys to get their hands on this stuff. So again, this is just a great war movie that, much like From Dusk Till Dawn or movies of that kind of ilk, where you think it's one thing and then all of a sudden it just does a dramatic tonal and genre shift to where you're just like, this was a zombie movie the whole time. Much like From Dusk Till Dawn, you're like, this was a vampire movie the whole time. So I love those kind of movies. I love the twist in this one. And yeah, Overlord, underrated, not the best movie, but again, very underrated, very fun watch. Again, the guys are zombies because we just see the first guy get killed and then immediately brought back by this serum that makes him go crazy. And they're not actually eating people. They're more just like violent. They just turn into almost what we've seen from other zombie movies that we've talked about on the channel, where they're not so much trying to eat people. They're just trying to just kill people. So they have like a bloodlust, not necessarily a need to eat flesh to survive. But overall, Overlord, underrated. Check it out. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below. We will be back with our next film, which is The Elixir, a new zombie film on Netflix right now from Indonesia. So stay tuned for that on this channel as we catch up, because the month of October is rapidly ending. We're behind. We're going to catch up. Like, comment, subscribe on this channel. Talk to you later. Adios.